I gotta get through 5 books in the next week and a half, but considering 2 of them are mangas, 2 of them I have an audiobook, and 1 is an indie published that I'm very excited about, I'm not that worried. I just realized that Malice. All of these are upside down. It's Thursday, right? Yes. Wow, I have no sense of time ever. Good morning. My coffee's in the other room. Pause. Hello. 'Tis July 1st. Why do I say things? Hello everybody, my name's Kelsey and we're about to get very, very nerdy with the last week of Whatever You Want-A-thon. So that I come to you on a Sunday like I seem to be doing this entire month, just to tell you quick kind of like what we're planning on doing this week. It's the last week of Whatever You Want-A-thon, and I think I'm doing pretty well. I've only got about 5 books I need to read. 2 of them are mangas. 2 of them I have an audiobook, so I'm not too worried. But as you would have seen last week, I started Dreaming Sun on Saturday, I believe. Only got to like the first chapter, but we'll read this kind of over the next couple of days. But this was in for poll, so I'm very excited about that. And then I did also start Malice. I'm only about 35 pages in, but this is the audiobook that I will be spending most of this week reading. And then I also am starting another buddy read tomorrow, which is Seduction of Highland Lass by Maya Banks. This is the second in the McCab series. I can never get the series name right. I think it's the McCab series. And this one I am buddy reading with my friend Taylor. We've been reading a Maya Banks book every single month, and so this is our pick for this month. So I'm very excited about that. And then I will officially, finally, be picking up A Deal with an Elf King, which I put on hold for a little bit, but I'm very excited to pick that one up. So this will be another physical book that I need to read this last week and a half. It's going to be a little bit longer vlog than the last couple of weeks. And then the last book that I need to read for this readathon is the first volume of Spy Family. And I need to read this one directly after we read Seduction of a Highland Lass, because this is the weird prompt where the last letter of the book that you read before it has to match the first letter of this book. So Highland Lass ends with S. This starts with S. That's how that's going to kind of work. I definitely didn't tell you what the rest of these were for. This is for indie published book, Seduction of a Highland Lass. Honestly, don't remember what that was for, so when I talk about that, I'll let you know. And then Malice, I believe, was a debut novel. So I've got some pretty decent plans. Got some I gotta get through 5 books in the next week and a half, but considering 2 of them are mangas, 2 of them I have an audiobook, and 1 is an indie published that I'm very excited about, I'm not that worried. I just realized that Malice. All of these are upside down. There we go. But yeah, that's kind of the plan going into the week. I'll take you along with me, and we'll see. I've also, fun fact, I have a guest coming this weekend. My lovely best friend in the whole entire world, Lauren, is coming for a visit, so we'll have all of the fun bookish goodness this weekend. Lots of book shopping, I am sure. We'll take you along for that. But now I shall go, and I'll talk to you when I have updates. first day, right? Yes. Wow, I have no sense of time ever. But I'm here because I have a couple of updates for you. I finished a couple of books since the last time I talked to you, and I've made a good progress. Wow, that was not good English. I made good progress in a couple of the other ones that I'm reading, and I got some fun things in the mail. I mean, I don't know if they are, but like, I wanted to share them with you anyway. So let's get started. The first one that I finished was the first volume of Dreaming Sun by Ichigo Taganu. I loved this so much. It got 5 stars from me. It's taking everything in me not to just drive out on my lunch break today to the local Books A Million and pick up the rest of them. Because there are 10 total. At least there's 10 out right now. And then there's a little like comic strip in the back of this that's kind of like the equivalent of an author's letter. And in it, they say that there's going to be 10 volumes of this. I don't know what it is about this. The story is ridiculous. This shouldn't work. It's the silliest thing. This girl meets a guy in the park because she's trying to run away from her family, but like not really run away from her family, and he offers for her to live with him and a couple other people for like the equivalent of $100. I think it's a month. And it's so crazy, but I got invested in it so quickly. I love the people that she lives with and like the friends that she is making. She seems so happy. And there are some things revealed at the end of this that I was like shooketh about. I'm obsessed. This got 5 stars. It might become my favorite manga. I said it. I said it and I meant it. I'm just loving it. I loved it so much. And I need the rest of the series. So I'm definitely going to be collecting this and reading them as I collect them, because this was so good. It was so good. But this filled the prompt of pull. 5 stars, stellar, highly recommend. So good. So I finished that one, and just recently, as of like 20 minutes ago, I finished Seduction of a Highland Lass by Maya Banks, which is my buddy read with my lovely friend Taylor. We've been buddy reading a Maya Banks book every single month for the last 4 or 5 months maybe. I loved this one as well. It also got 5 stars from me. This was on my TBR basket, but it was also in this readathon to fit a TBR game prompt, so that worked relatively well. I am in love with the main character. I think that's why I love it, is our main character, Keely, is what I wanted the last book we read this main character to be. She's not wishy-washy like the last one was. She's very like steadfast and very headstrong on like what she thinks, and that's kind of what Maya Banks does with her, you know, female main characters. She makes them these really headstrong characters, but it just didn't work with the last one, and this one was exactly what I wanted. She was incredible, and like the love between her and our brother that we have in this book is beautiful because it's so honest and true, and like with them it's not a question of do I like you, do I not like you. The question is, he's got commitments and things for his clan already in place, and he needs to honor those, and that's the struggle between them, is that she understands that he needs to honor them, and she respects that he needs to honor them, but it doesn't make them love each other any less. It doesn't make their situation any easier to deal with. And I loved it. Their relationship is so cute. They honestly care, like genuinely care about each other. And the guy, his name is Alaric, he is not what you would typically think of as like a Scottish Highland brute in some of these historical romances, because he tells her exactly what he's thinking. So that one was really great, and we got to see some of the things, because we read the first one and the third one in the series, and this is the second one. And while you can read them out of order, there's definitely a chunk in the middle of like little things that you've missed, and it's nice to see the finished story. Everything clicks into place, everything makes sense, that kind of stuff. So I loved it so much. So yeah, that got 5 stars from me, which means the next thing I need to pick up is put on hold what I've been reading and pick up the first volume of Spy Family, because this is in for the prompt of the first letter of this book is the same as the last letter of the previous book you read. So Highland Lass ends with S, Spy Family begins with S. So we're going to read this manga very, very quickly, but it's about a guy who's a spy, and he's put on a mission, and that mission needs him to kind of have a very like normal looking family. So he gets a wife and a kid. He adopts a kid for a little bit to kind of pretend to be his family, but like the wife is an assassin or something, and the kid is a telepath. So like I'm not sure if he knows this going into it, but apparently this is very, very funny and very interesting, and I'm excited to see how I feel about this. So yeah, I'm gonna pick this one up next, put everything I've been reading on hold and pick this one up because it fits for the prompt. But I have been reading a little bit of Deal with an Elf King and Malice. So Malice, I'm like 60, no, I think I'm 75% of the way through the book, according to Goodreads. I'm on page 296, so there we go, chapter 28. I don't actually know how many are in here. At least 40. Oh, I saw 42. But I'm really enjoying this one. I'm liking, there's bits and pieces where, like, our main character Alice has been told to think certain things about herself her entire life, and so there are bits and pieces in this book that we're learning with her about her actual past. So I've really been enjoying that. I like seeing her kind of like friendship with the Aurora character. Actually, her name is Aurora, the Sleeping Beauty character, Aurora, in this book, and everyone kind of like being really skeptical about the fact that she's friends with Aurora because she's a dark grace. So of course she's got motives. She's part Vila. She's got all these different, you know, motives as to why she wants to be with this princess or be friends with this princess. And she legit is just like, the princess doesn't treat me any differently than she would anybody else. She actually appreciates me for who I am. I'm gonna be friends with her. So that's fascinating. The one thing that's annoying me about this book is, and it's not anything that I think hinders the plot, it's just like, I think it's a lot, is because she's part Vila, they really hone in on the fact that she is different and people really don't like her. So there are people in her house that are really, really mean to her. People out in the world who are really, really mean to her that say all these awful things about her. And she just kind of like has to suck it up and live her life the way that she can. And so like that really bothered me, and I'm not sure if it's because it's just so much in this book, and it makes sense. I understand why that's there. But it was just so much a part of the story, and I think that kind of like mean girl-esque thing really bothers me, and it might be because I recently read Intercepted, and that's a huge part of that plot, where it's very, very similar of she's a different person from this group, this people, this town, whatever that is, and so everyone talks awful about her to her face. And so there's a lot of good comebacks that Alice comes up with, which I appreciate, but it's just, there's just so much. But I'm not sure where the story can go because it feels like we've barely scratched the surface, and I know this is the first in the series, but I feel like it's a duology. So I have no idea where we could go, but I am really enjoying it. I'm excited to finish this up relatively soon. I plowed through a lot of this yesterday. That's when I read most of this book, I listened to it yesterday, and it was so great. So very much enjoying that. And then I'm also reading A Deal with the Elf King, which I'm about 100 pages into, so like 20-30% of the way through the book. I like that we're starting to see slightly a different side to this Elf King, but we're also seeing a lot of our main character's magic, and she's kind of discovering her magic for the first time. So this is kind of a mix of based on Beauty and the Beast as well as Hades and Persephone, but it takes place in this world where there's this like kind of barrier between the human world and the fairy or the elf world, and there is one human who's going to be chosen because she has magic, and she's going to marry the Elf King, and so she is known as the Human Queen, and it keeps this barrier up, basically, or something like that. Like, it's some kind of, like, they need it to keep this treaty. So our main character is that queen. However, she doesn't know that at the beginning of the book. Her magic's been hidden from her, and so usually what happens is these girls have been kind of tailored and molded as they grow up to understand their power and what they're going to be expected over there, and kind of how to control their powers and things like that, so that when they actually are queen and do whatever it is that they need to do, even though the humans don't know what that is, it's easier for them. Whereas with her, she knows nothing. She's not been trained to be a queen. She's not been trained about her magic. Nothing like that. So she goes into this world, and she talks back to people. She kind of stands up for herself because she's not been trained to do anything else. And, like, she's gonna be who she is. She's gonna speak her mind. And it takes a lot of people, like, off guard. And it's very fascinating, especially the king. Because he's like, you need to bow to me. And she's like, no. So that's really fascinating. But she's finding her people. She's finding her friends. She's finding her little section of the castle. And I'm really enjoying it. So I'm excited to continue with this. It's so good. So these are the last 3 that I need to read for this readathon. And I'm very excited. So we'll do this one first, and then we'll get to the others. But I did want to show you this thing that I got in the mail because I have been getting a couple of packages here and there over the past couple of weeks from like lovely people and for my birthday, and I appreciate it so much. And I didn't expect this one to show up, and so I opened it without thinking it, but because I gave all of the other ones time on the video, I wanted to give this one time on the video. And it actually makes perfect sense because it was gifted to me by my lovely friend Taylor, who I buddy read the My Banks books with, and that is Romancing the Duke by Tessa Dare. This sounds so good. I've heard really good things about this. I've never read anything by Tessa Dare before, but I love me some historical romance. I'm really getting into it, and so I think it follows our main character named Izzy, who basically is like grew up with storybooks and thought that that was the way her life was going to be, and now that she's older she's realizing, you know, maybe not. And then I think she falls for someone. I don't know. I'm not really entirely sure what this is about, but it's historical fiction. It's about a duke. It's a very fun floppy paperback. I'm obsessed with this. And it was from my lovely friend Taylor, so I had to thank you again, even though I've definitely messaged you. But thank you again, Taylor. I'm so excited. I'm planning on reading this very, very soon. So, okay, so I wanted to show you guys that because it's so sweet. But I did get this fun package in the mail. I know exactly what it is. It's a pre-order that I have that came out 2 days ago. And it's just now getting to me, which is fine. Hello, sir. But I wanted to share it with you because I'm so excited. This is the book that I have been the most excited about. This is my #1 anticipated release, I think, of this year. So it is, oh, she's a thick one, My Contrary Mary by the Lady J. Well, I guess they're the Lady Maries now. I don't even know how to do that. But Cynthia Hand, Brody Ashton, and Jody Meadows. This is the first and their kind of like new series that they're doing, which is all about Maries. They did one on Jane's this past few years, and now they're doing one on Maries, and this is the first one in that series. It follows Mary, Queen of Scots. I'm so excited. I love their writing. It's so funny. I'm so happy. Look how pretty it is. So, I don't know when I'm going to get to this. I would love to get to it next month, but we'll see. I'm very happy. So, I got that in the mail. Anyway, so that's my update. I've finished some things. I've gotten some fun things. And I'm ecstatic. So, I'll come back to you when I finish probably The Spy Family or I don't know. Whenever I finish things and have things to tell you, I will come back. 'tis me. I'm a sleepy human, but it's Sunday, and I thought I'd come on here because, as you probably saw in the last mini clip, I went lots of book shopping yesterday. There's a book warehouse near me and a little farther away. It's like the same book warehouse, it's just 2 different cities. And so we went to both of those because we met up with friends last night for dinner while my lovely friend Lauren was in town. And then we also went to Books A Million, and we had to go to Barnes & Noble. I haven't been in a Barnes & Noble in so long, and I didn't get anything, which is like shocking. Mostly because I was looking for the 2nd volume of Dreaming Sun, and I couldn't find it anywhere. So I'm gonna have to scour the internet or something, because I'm a little sad that I don't have that. But I thought I'd show you what I got because it's crazy, and there's still more that I'm not going to show you, but like that's the stuff that my husband got and like a couple of things that Lauren brought me. So I'll show those in like my haul, but I thought I would show you what I got yesterday. So I'll do the I'll do the Books A Million stack first since it's smaller. First off, I wanted a copy of Emma because I don't have a copy of Emma, and I've talked about it a lot recently, and I keep not having a copy of it. Also, I really like these Books. I keep doing this. Books A Million covers. What are they called? The Arcturus editions. I think they're really pretty. I have this Northanger Abbey in this edition. I think they're stunning, so I'd love to get them all at some point. But Emma was the one that I feel like I talk about the most and don't have a copy of. So we grabbed a copy of that. And then I did get a copy of Between Perfect and Real by Ray Stove, I think is how you say it. But it basically follows our main character, Dean, who knows that he's a guy, but the world sees him as a lesbian, including his girlfriend, Zoe, and then he's cast as a non-traditional Romeo in Romeo and Juliet, and doing this play has basically solidified for him that he is for sure a guy and he wants to transition. And he was kind of waiting till college, but now he's like, I want to be my authentic self now. And I heard about this on Maddie from Book Browsing Blog's channel. Sounds incredible. I'm very intrigued by this one. I don't know when I'm going to get around to it because I never am. Ooh, even the cover has this fun like acting theater masks on it. That's very pretty. It's very pretty purple color. But I've had my eye on this one for a while, and I happened to see it, and I was like, oh, must get my hands on. And then they did this like 3-4 buy 2 get 1 free manga thing, and so I found a standalone that looks good, and it's called I Love You So Much, I Hate You. That's the full title. I Love You So Much I Hate You by Uni. And it's basically this manga between 2 women, this woman and her boss, basically. And also one of them is married. I think our main character is married. But it's a kind of like standalone manga. Looks pretty cute. Thought I'd give it a shot. I did pick up the 2nd volume of Witch Hat Atelier. They didn't have the 3rd one. I was thinking about getting 2 and 3, but they only had the 2nd one, and then 4, 5, 6, and so on and so forth. So I only got the 2nd one, but I'm excited because I don't know who this person is on the cover, and I need answers. Also, who is this on the back? What? And then my dumb self found this manga that I was like actually interested in. I'd seen it somewhere. I even put like the 1st volume, I think, on my like TBR on Goodreads, and they didn't have the volumes. They had the whole freaking manga. So I just went ahead and bought the bind up of everything, and that's called Stupid Love Comedy. And so it basically follows these 2 characters. Like, it's the whole freaking thing. So I hope I enjoy it. But it follows these 2 characters, one who's an author and one who is the new editor, I think. And they really don't like each other, but they have to like get along. And I think he's like really hot, and so she's like, oh my gosh, I love him. And so they have to like get along, and there's probably a romance there. Sounds like I Hate to Love. I don't know. It's large. I will most likely not be reading this full thing at once. I'll probably do like volumes, a couple chapters here and there, do volumes at a time. But yeah, I got the whole freaking thing, so that's fun. But we also went out to Target and got a new bookshelf, so we'll be rearranging the shelves here. I think we're going to build it today and maybe rearrange and move some of the nonfiction downstairs. So we'll see. And then I bought at the book warehouses, since we went to 2, I bought a lot of historical fiction. So I'm going to do the non-historical fiction first. And we'll start with the 2 graphic novels that I picked up. I picked up the 1st volume of Defender, which I've heard is really good. I've heard a lot of people have really enjoyed it. Do I remember what this is about? No, I do not. It follows this little, like, robot called Tim21, and he, at one point, they're like, robots ruled the galaxy, or wreaked havoc in the galaxy, and so he wakes up one day after being out or asleep for a very long time, and robots have been outlawed, but there's something with his, like, mechanics or his code that might help solve the world or something, and, he's on the run. Everyone wants him. So I picked up that because I've heard incredible things about that one. And then I also picked up the first volume of Giant Days. And this one I think is like a slice of life kind of thing. Where like there's these girls who start university or like college for the first time. And it's just their experience in college. And then, oh wait, there's one more manga that I picked up. It's called The Water Dragon's Bride. Do I know what this is about? Absolutely not. It's the first and only volume that was there, but it looked really cute, and like the colors in the front are very, very pretty, and I like the idea of like underwater things, so we picked that one up as well. And then I picked up, I'm not even sure why I did this, but it was a whole 50 cents, and it's called Lemony Snicket, the Unauthorized Autobiography, and so it's like everyone is curious about who this Lemony Snicket is, and so the guy who's Lemony Snicket, which is obviously an alias, I think wrote a book explaining who Lemony Snicket is. And I've seen this before, and I feel like I've read this before, but it didn't ever click with me. So, we're gonna read this at some point, just to get a better idea of who this Lemony Snicket character is. And then this one, also because it was super, cheap, is called Bad Austin. The worst stories Jane never wrote. I don't even know what I'm getting into, to be honest. It says, enjoy a new collection of hilarious efforts to write the worst excerpts from the novel Jane Austen never wrote. I don't know. Alright, we're gonna do these in like multiple different stacks together. Right before I went on this adventure, I was talking to my lovely friend Taylor, who I've been buddy reading my Banks books with, and we've basically come to the end of where like historical fiction Maya Banks is right now. We've got one more planned for next month, but then after that we don't really have anything else to read. It's kind of, I wouldn't say the end, but maybe the end for us. And so we decided to pick up a different author. So we're going to be picking up Tessa Dare books. So I went and got all of the Tessa Dare books that they had. Do I know what any of these are about? I do not. The one that she's read out of this stack, which I'm probably going to try to get to next week during the historical readathon, is The Governess Game. But like, look at this, and then the step back. So pretty. So I've got that one. We have Do You Want to Start a Scandal as well, which I can't, we're going to get that sticker off at some point. Very pretty step back there. The Wallflower Wager. This looks like it's the same general idea because it says Girl Meets Duke there, and then step back says she's betting she can tame the beast. We have a Goddess of the Hunt, a Lady of Persuasion, and One Dance with a Duke. So, I don't really know what any of these are about. Maybe one day I'll actually investigate them. But I just went in because I knew that this is the person that we were going to be reading next, and I was like, she's got like 50 or something books that she's already written, and so we're gonna try and see what happens. But those are the Tessa Dare books I got. And then found the Julia Quinn section, and I was like, okay, so I have the first one in the Bridgerton series. What if we just go and see? I pulled up Goodreads, and I went through and I found the list and like all the names of the books, and I said, okay, we're just gonna go and see how many are here, and then we're just gonna go until there isn't one. Like, so for example, if they had 2 through 3 but not 4, but then 5 through 6, 7, whatever, then we would only get 2 through 4, and like that would be like my cutoff. Well, they had all of them except for the very last one, so we picked up the rest of the Bridgerton series, even though I haven't read the first one because I'm crazy. So we have The Viscount Who Loved Me, which is the second one. This one is about Anthony, and then we have An Offer from a Gentleman, which I need to get that sticker off of. And this is about, oh shoot, Sir Benedict. And then we have Romancing Mr. Bridgerton. And this one is about Colin. We have Choose Sir Philip with Love, and this one is about Eloise. We have When He Was Wicked, which is about Francesca, and then we have It's in His Kiss, which is about Hyacinthia. Hyacinth. Here we are. And then I have a whole other stack for you as well, because I went a little crazy. I found Seduction of a Highland Lass by Maya Banks, which is the book we just read this month, actually, and it's one of our favorites. It's not my favorite. Never Seduces Scott is still my favorite of hers, but this is a very close second, and so I wanted to get my own physical copy, so I got that one. And then I picked up a Jane Feather book because it looked really interesting. It's called A Wedding Wager. We got a Lisa Kleypas book, which is Stranger in My Arms, because I don't have any Lisa Kleypas books, and I know that this is an author that people love. I don't know what this is about, but I purely got it because it's so pretty, and the step back is stunning. I love this one so much. Like, it's one of the most pretty mass market paperbacks that I have. So I got one of hers just because why not? And then I got a ton of Joanna Lindsey books because I have really enjoyed Joanna Lindsey. She's the very first historical romance author that I really ever read, and I've got like 5 over here. 4. I've got 4 books of hers back here, and so I just kind of picked up a bunch of stuff by her. And so we have A Loving Scoundrel with this very pretty step back. We have Captive of My Dreams, which when I picked it up, I didn't realize that it was a pirate, like it's on a ship, which I'm excited about. And so we've got that lovely step back. I probably should have realized because they're definitely on a ship, but that's fine. And then we've got Marriage Most Scandalous, which looks very, very pretty. And then we have some very old editions that I think are stunning, and that is Tinder Rebel by Joanna Lindsey, obviously, and Say You Love Me. This one's probably my favorite. I think it's so pretty, and then this step back is stunning. So yeah, I went a lot a bit crazy, but in my defense, most of these books were less than $1. So that's my little haul for you, but I do actually have some book updates, so let me tell you those real quick. But I did finish the first volume of Spy Family. I think I gave this 4.5 stars, if I am correct. Maybe 5 stars. I honestly don't remember what I ended up giving it, but this was so much fun. I want to continue with this. There are so many funny moments because our little girl is a telepath. She knows that her dad's character is a spy and her mom is an assassin, but the dad and the mom don't know each other are spy versus assassin. They just think they're these two people that they have created this kind of bargain with, for like they're going to help each other out by pretending to be married and getting this girl into the school, and also like getting this woman's family off her back, and they can still go do their missions and stuff. The girl is just so funny because she knows every time her dad character lies, and so every time he says something she's like, "Oh, Papa is such a liar," and it's just really funny, and the conversations are really funny. It's funnier than I anticipated this being, and I'm really happy that I read it, and I want to continue for sure. I was trying to see if I could find other volumes of this when we went to Books A Million as well, but they only had 4 and 5, which maybe I should have picked up, but I didn't. So we'll pick up more of these in the future. I'm very excited because when we add the new shelf, the manga shelf is getting an upgrade and definitely getting bigger. So we're just gonna have to rearrange that a little bit. But that's really the only update I have. I haven't touched Malice, and I probably won't touch Malice until Monday. So I've got a little time this morning. My husband is at church. I didn't go with him this time because I was waiting for my lovely friend. She had to leave relatively early this morning, and so I just wanted to hang out with her a little bit. But I've got a little bit of time before he comes home from church, and I'm planning on doing yoga with my mom. So I'm going to pick up a deal with an Elf King because I'm not as far as I would like to be with 3 days left in the month, and most of them being during the week, and there's no way I'm going to be able to read during the week very much. So we're going to try to pick this one up and read a ton of this one. That's my plan for today, is to read this and then finish Malice this upcoming weekend or week sometime. So that's my plan. I hope you enjoyed this very ridiculously long haul because I have a problem. But yeah, I'm gonna get to reading this one, and I will come back to you when I have probably final thoughts, whenever that will be. Hello, it is officially July 1st, which means it is the end of this readathon. So I'm here to wrap up my final thoughts on the readathon, my final updates for you, because I do actually have a couple. So long story short, did I complete everything I needed to? Yes. So this week, since I've talked to you, I've been able to finish both Malice and Deal with an Elf King. So I finished Malice on Monday, so it's been a couple of days since then, and I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. This was kind of all over the place as far as like my feelings towards it, because the beginning was really interesting. I liked it. It reminded me of the Bells. I think I've said that before. I think it was just that like there's all these different houses that house these, you know, magical beings that are the graces, and like each grace can do something different. So there's beauty graces and wit graces, and like our main character is a dark grace, and so they all have different powers, and people come to them, pay money to get like elixirs and potions and salves and like all these other things that will do whatever it is that they are coming to that grace for. And that really reminded me of the Bells, because the Bells have a very similar system of like houses where they live and work and give like beauty treatments to people. And so that was really similar. I liked learning along with our main character Alice, because she kind of like learns a lot about herself, her heritage, the world that she lives in. And so while she's learning, we're learning, which is really interesting. So the beginning was really interesting. The middle was still interesting, and like the plot was still going, but it was still very slow. So there was kind of this dip in the middle for me. And then the last like 50 to 100 pages was like snap, snap, snap. Let's go. Let's do things. It was fast paced. And I absolutely love how this ended. So there definitely needs to be a second. This was ended in a way that like the story is definitely not over, but it was such a strong, powerful ending that I'm like very happy with it. So I don't know when we're gonna get the second, because this is a duology. I don't know when we're gonna get that, considering that this one came out this year, but I will definitely be picking it up. I really, really liked this. I think it was a very interesting idea and retelling of this story. My only big problem, I think, with this actually has to do with the romance of this book, whereas I went in knowing that there was going to be something between our main character Alice and this Aurora character. And you don't know that going in. You kind of are very surprised when something happens, because it's not built up in a way that I found was relatively romantic. It kind of, in my opinion, was built up as like a really good friendship, and then all of a sudden romance. So like I feel like it wasn't built up that way, but I don't know, like it just kind of, I think she was relying on the fact that she would know that that was going to be a thing going into this book. So if you didn't, then you would be like, wait a second, where did this come from? It kind of surprised me and came out of nowhere. So that's my only big like overarching issue with this book. Otherwise, I thought it was really interesting. I liked seeing Alex kind of come into her own. I love, like seriously, the ending is so strong, and I really enjoyed it. So I gave that one 4 stars. There are birds flying. I can't tell if they're trying to mate or if they're angry. So I was able to finish that, and I believe this one was for a debut novel. And then I finally finished A Deal with an Elf King last night by Lisa Kova. I stayed up way too late. I'm very sleepy today because I was determined to finish it. Not because I wanted to particularly finish it for this readathon. It was more of the fact of, if I don't finish this, I may put this down and not pick it up again and just kind of forget about it. I tend to do that sometimes. If I'm physically reading a book, I'll put it down and then I'll forget about it, and then even though I'm interested in it, I'll never come back to it. And I wanted to give this book a chance. So I plowed through the last like 115 pages yesterday, and I actually really enjoyed this. This one got 4 stars. So coming right after ACOTAR, which was incredibly steamy, this was not as steamy as I was expecting / wanted it to be, but the tension between our characters was great. They had so many cute moments. I loved watching our main character kind of figure out her powers as she's going through this book and kind of figure out this world and really kind of fix what's going on. Now, this is definitely a standalone. This is a series. This is part of the Married to Magic series. There is one coming out. I don't actually know when it's coming out, but it's called Dance with the Fae Rogue. Because in this world, there are different groups of people. Like, this one was specifically about the elves. The Fae show up. There is kind of like a vampire kind of group of people in this book as well. So the series follows this world. So it's more of like you're in the same world, but each story is totally different. So like this is a one and done standalone, which I appreciated because I kind of felt like the story was very good for a standalone. I'm not sure it could have continued for a series, but like maybe if she had written it slightly different. But I thought it was really, really good. I'm very intrigued to see what other things she has written. This is very much about naturalistic magic, so if you like that kind of magic system where it's based on nature and the earth, that was really fascinating, and I just liked seeing our characters grow from very distant to like together. They were just really cute, okay? And like their conversations were fantastic, and I liked seeing kind of like this Ice King melt a little bit as he goes through the story. So I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. And this, what was this in for? Was this in for an indie published book? This might have been in for an indie published book. So that's it. Those are the last 2 books that I needed to read. I was looking at my list here that I kind of made, and I did have plans to read The Wren Hunt for Bookish Creators Fave List. I just didn't get around to it. But honestly, I was looking at that graphic, and take a hint, Danny Brown? Yes, take a hint. Danny Brown is on one of the other creators' favorites on that graphic, and so I just decided to use that for that prompt. Otherwise, everything minus the reread, I have something in for, so I feel very, very accomplished. And I did pretty good on my TBR, like, game as well. So this last week I read 5 books, which is incredible. Now it was a little bit over, like it was a week and a half, so it was a little over a week, but I read the first volume of Dreaming Sun, which I gave 5 stars. I read Seduction of a Highland Lass by Maya Banks, which I gave 5 stars. We read Spy Family Volume 1, which I gave 4 stars, and then Malice and To Deal with an Elf King, which were 4 stars. So pretty decent month. I was looking at my planning reading journal, and I think everything was either a 4 or 5 star this month. So like pretty good month, I will say. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed these weekly vlogs for the month. Let me know if you guys participated or just how your June reading went. I would love to know all of that. What is your favorite book that you read in June? Let me know. But if you liked this video, and I very much hope that you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below if you want to be part of this awesome growing family. I've also got all my social media down there, as well as other fun bookish links, so don't forget to go check all of those out. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!